What's up, my friends? Happy New Year. I cannot believe it is 2020. You are hearing this for the first time just a couple days after 2020, but I'm literally recording this on January 1st. And no magic lightning bolt, happened last night when the ball dropped. But for some reason, I always just get excited on the first of the year because everyone else is setting, New Year's resolutions or their next year's goals. And so it just inspires me and encourages me to do the same. But before I do that, I want to reflect back on 2019. So that's what I'm going to do in this episode. It's not going to be a long one. We're just going to talk about the 5 things that I learned in 2019. I learned way more than 5 things, but we're going to touch on some of the really important ones that I learned. So if you're new to this podcast, welcome to the Badass is the New Black podcast. I am your host, Chrissy Chin. Here on the podcast, we chat all things business, which typically transfers over into personal growth. But I'm here to give you the edge that you need to identify and attract more clients, to crush your sales in your business, to scale your business so that you can live the life that you dream of, which is working less and enjoying more. So we're going to jump right on into it. Again, I just have 5 things for you. Take them with a grain of salt. Love them, like them, hate them. Doesn't matter to me, but hopefully you get one little nugget out of this, okay? Number 1. And I don't think these are in any particular order, I would say. They are all very important, so let's just get right in. Number 1, it is important and crucial to meet people where they are at. Again, meet people where they are at. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make him drink. So if that horse is hungry, don't offer him a glass of water because you think that's what he needs. Give that horse a gosh darn steak, okay? Or a bale of hay or whatever that horse wants. You might think that your customer needs the premium package of whatever you had, whether that's a product or a service that you offer. But maybe they don't want that. Maybe they want that magic pill that gives them the best, simple thing that will give them the fastest results. If that's what they want, give them that. Don't try and sell them on the whole kit and caboodle. That's not what they want. They want that simple magic pill. So give them that sweet taste, something that will give them those fast results so that they will come back begging for the whole kit and caboodle. And if you're too young to know what a caboodle is, then we can't be friends. No, I'm just kidding. Speaking of caboodles, what did yours look like? Mine was pink on the top and teal on the bottom. If you don't know what a caboodle is, then I'm definitely dating myself, and you can Google it. I don't know, that was like a 90s thing. All right, I digress. This whole meet people where they're at is not just for business. It's also in your personal life. If you have a friend that is down in the dumps, meet them where they're at. Just be that buddy there to listen. Don't think that you have to solve all of their problems. Just be their friend. So whatever situation you're in, remember, Chrissy said to meet them where they're at. Okay, got it? Number 1, check. Number 2, your authenticity and vulnerability is your superpower. This is one of the hardest things for me. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be a little vulnerable here. Being vulnerable is hard for me because it just opens up the gates to be able to get hurt. Right? That's why we build up these walls to protect ourselves from getting hurt. Well, vulnerability, when you're vulnerable, you're literally removing those walls. You're opening up and you're just basically asking people to come on in and take a stab, right? And that's super scary. So if you're like me, you put up these walls and you don't like to get super vulnerable, but that really affects your authenticity. And it's so important in this space today, building business online, that you have to show up authentic and connect with your people. And that means getting vulnerable. Why don't I like to get vulnerable? And think about why you don't like to get vulnerable either. It's probably the same reason. Again, you have that risk of getting hurt, but also, typically if you're vulnerable, someone might not like it. And that can be a little bit of a scary thought. Oh gosh, what if they don't like us? And brain tells us that we aren't enough, right? If not everybody likes us, we're not enough. That's not really true. It really just means that they're not our people. And not everyone is going to like us, and it's okay if not everyone likes us. And actually, if not everyone likes you, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You are being your true self so that you attract other people that are just like you. So as long as you are being true to yourself and trying to do good along the way without alienating others in the process, then we are good enough and we can reach the successes that we want. All right, number 3, your story matters. Your story is what leads you to success. So don't think that your story doesn't matter. It does. I was sitting in the Kajabi Summit in April of 2019, and everyone kept sharing their story because it's a business summit. Kajabi is a platform. You've heard me talk about it so many times before. That's where I host everything, my website, all of that on Kajabi. And so everyone's telling their business story or their story of where they are now, how they got to be doing what they're doing. And when I shared my story, people were kind of in awe of it. And I thought it was kind of weird. I was like, why do they think my story is special? Like, they have a cool story too. And he didn't really think much of it. And people kept just saying, I remember my friend Rob now, wasn't my friend then, is my friend now, was telling me, you have such a great story. You have to keep sharing your story. And then when I was introduced to my VA, my virtual assistant now, through a friend that was also at the summit, she had said to me, yeah, when Graham told me your story, I was really curious and I was really interested. I may have like social stalked you a little bit. And I'm just kind of excited to hear more about what you're doing. And I was like, interesting. She was like, he kept talking about how cool your story was. And I was like, it's just like, the same as everyone else. But the reality is it wasn't the same as everyone else. Everyone has their own unique story. And that's actually the uniquest thing about you, is that your story is different from everyone else. And so sharing your story, whether you're selling products through a network marketing company or you're a coach, like sharing your story and how you got to where you are, it matters. And it is what is going to help you find more clients, ideal clients, and sell more. And I cannot wait to bring my friend Megan on here, who's going to talk more about sharing your story in the future. All right, number 4, I think we're on 4. Messaging matters. How you say things makes a difference. And I learned this a bit of the hard way. I put up a post not too long ago. Again, I was trying to channel the whole share your story, be vulnerable, show people where you're at. And it kind of backfired on me because I shared it in a not so effective way. And that's the lesson that taught me that messaging matters. So what happened was I put up a post I was talking about my journey in motherhood, and I don't really remember exactly what I was saying, but I was basically saying that I am not like the homeschooling mom. I'm not just a mom. I thrive on business and all this stuff. But the way that I said it, I instantly within an hour got a message from someone, and they were like, hey, I've got 3 texts or something that they were offended by what you said. And I was like, well, what did I say? I was just sharing my story. Right? And she was like, oh, I think it was I'm just a mom comment or whatever. And I was like, well, gosh, that is not what I meant. And so I went and looked back and I was like, well, gosh, if you're just kind of reading this and you've got your own personal things going on, I can see how it could be misconstrued. And so I just changed some of the text. I didn't change my story. I didn't change what I was trying to say. No, I did change what I was trying to say because it clearly wasn't translating very well. But I changed the message to be a little bit more clear of what I was trying to put out there, and also talk about how this is my story. This is how I felt. It has no judgment on you, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that was a little lesson that taught me that messaging matters. So when I'm sharing something on, the social media outlets, as an influencer, all of us as influencers, if you have someone reading your content, you are an influencer. Your messaging matters. Let's take a tiny little break from this badass podcast to talk about Kajabi, or as my husband calls it, Punjabi. Babe, it starts with a K.
Kajabi. This is the platform that literally makes all the magic happen. It's plug and play, no coding necessary. And guess what, you guys? The best thing about it is that you get your very own mobile app with it. I looked into building an app and it was going to be over $100,000. You get your own right there. The platform is so affordable too. So instead of paying for individual platforms like your CRM system, which is going to host your email, your landing pages, which is going to capture your email, your website, which is going to be where all the magic happens, a community space, it's literally all in one. So it doesn't matter if you want to host courses, educational classes, have libraries in there for your team. This is absolutely the way to go. And I have a month free for you to check it out. So hop over to my website, thechrissychin.com/Kajabi, Kajabi, and you can check out a month for free. I cannot wait to see what you create. Please do me a favor, send me a DM, send me an email once you've created something so I can see it and check it out. Can't wait for you to get started and scale your business like a badass boss. All right, let's get back to the podcast.
All right, number 5, personal development. This is the most important part of generating success, I think, hands down. It's what allows you to know better and do better. It helps you enjoy the journey so that the entire process to success is happy and exciting and not daunting and unhelpful, right? Because we've all been in that place of just getting started and it's hard to build a business in the beginning, and it can be daunting and it can be like, oh my gosh, is this ever going to take off for me? But when you're doing the personal development right from the get-go or wherever you're at in your journey and you're doing that personal development, it really helps the process become happy and exciting every step of the way. Even if you like hit a wall and you fall backwards and you fall down, you're like, oh dang, snap. Okay, that's the lesson I was supposed to learn. Boom, I'm going to get back up and I'm going to keep moving forward. So that's what personal development has done for me. It's just allowed me to enjoy the journey a lot more. My oldest sister, always told me that personal development was really important and it made such a difference for her. And then I got into network marketing and people always said, oh, network marketing, it's like personal development with a comp plan. And now I tell people that. But I didn't really know kind of what that meant, right? It's like personal development. Okay, does that mean I have to go see a therapist or what? And I thought maybe I was doing it, right? I was like learning more, finding things out, listening to YouTube videos and all of that. But I was like, is this what personal development is? Am I supposed to be journaling? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? And I think I was doing little bits and pieces of personal development all along. But it wasn't until I hired my mindset coach where I really made a huge, huge difference and huge strides in my personal development. And every time that we met, I was discovering something about myself and even things from my past that had been affecting my day-to-day life. And I think that's where personal development for me, and I think maybe for a lot of people, I don't really know. It's when you can dig into the deep stuff that you don't really recognize is affecting your life, and you can then recognize it and make a change. That's what personal development is. So for example, I think I've shared this before on the podcast, but when I was growing up, I always felt misunderstood. I didn't realize that I was feeling misunderstood. I just had this feeling, right? And that I would get upset about something, or I would, feel lost, or confrontation would come up and I'd be like, oh, that's not what I was trying to say. And it wasn't until later working with my mindset coach that I recognized that, well, gosh, all those times I felt really misunderstood. I felt like I put something out there and they misunderstood that and judged me for it. And, and it really affected me. And so working with my mindset coach, Brandon Barber, he helped me discover and uncover that in that moment, when I'm like feeling the pain of when I have an interaction with someone and like it doesn't go right, I get that feeling of, oh gosh, I was misunderstood. And he allowed me and helped me with what I do then. right? Because that's not the end all be all, right? There's usually a solution to it. So he helped me discover that what I need to do to make the situation right for myself is just say what I need to say. And it kind of goes back to the messaging in the sharing your story, kind of all ties in together, in that if I'm misunderstood, all I have to go back and do is kind of rewrite the message, say what I need to say to feel better about the situation. Like, okay, if they know this, then that's all they need to know. And if they don't take it the right way, then I've said all I can say, and it is what it is, right? So now for me, I've made huge strides in my personal development in that sense. And so it just helped me with my personal life. If I have a little tip with my husband, because I say something and then he reacts a certain way, and then of course I notice that he reacted in a certain way, or he got upset by what I said, like the body language, the tone of voice, like all of that, you who are married out there know what I'm talking about. I can realize, oh wait, he took that very differently than what I intended. So let me go back. Hey, that's not what I meant to say, or sorry, that's not how I meant to say it. What I meant to say was this, or how I meant to say it was this. And so just having that personal development of being able to recognize and make that change has helped tremendously with my relationships, whether they're personal or their business. Now, I know that your personal stuff is going to be so different than mine, but what I think is the best guidance that I can give you is do whatever you need to do to discover the deep stuff. So it might be getting a therapist, or it might be hiring a mindset coach. If you're me, that's like, what, a therapist? I don't need a therapist. I'm not that messed up, right? So hire a mindset coach, or maybe you are able to make huge strides by doing some reflection time or meditation time to kind of discover what's going on. But a lot of times we need someone else to kind of help us work through that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't be scared of the scary things, and just do what you have to do to become a better human being, a better person, because you will see it tenfold in your personal life and your business. So those are like my big golden nuggets from 2019, and they kind of all go together, but it's meeting people where they're at. It's being your authentic and vulnerable self, because that is your superpower. That is going to help you connect with people and help people trust you. Your story absolutely matters. So share it, share it, share it. Your messaging makes a difference. So make sure that you're very clear with what you're trying to say. And then personal development, the most important above all things, keep doing the personal development stuff, keep working on yourself. And until next week, I want you to, do something that you love to do. Message me on DMs, send me a little message, tell me what you're looking forward to in 2020. I cannot wait to connect, and we'll see you next week.